Hello Dr. Grissom, this is Belle Sarian and this is my YouTube Sprint 5 update. So for this sprint, my main task was to basically clean up the styling. So as follows from the previous sprints, I've done a lot of the styling, a lot of taking what our plans are and trying to make it look like what we want so that we can connect it to the back end eventually and make it functional as a page. But for this sprint, basically my job was to clean up the styling in the sense that just to clean up the small bugs. So for example, before I had tried to implement the keyboard avoiding view so that you could view all of the text boxes when you wanted to enter a text. And I finally got it working so that, say if you were to click this one, so obviously this is at the top of the page, so it's not going to make a difference, but if you were to click that one, the keyboard would automatically scroll down so that it would fit the page, and then also the same there. Automatically it'll go and try to line up with that text box so that you can see it. And that doesn't matter how high what the height of the page actually is. So as you can see, it stops right there. But if you were to click that, it extends the page so that the keyboard will fit there. And then another thing that I did was I tried to clean up the team list component. So as you can see here, I made this component towards the beginning of the sprints that would display the information of the team, and I cleaned that up so that it would fit all of the text no matter what size it was. And then, so I applied the keyboard avoiding view to all the pages. And then, where is it? Team alerts. So I cleaned up this page because it was a bit messy and made it so that it made more sense basically as to how we wanted to function the alerts. I don't remember exactly how it was before, but basically I made, I changed the way that we set up how you would send out an alert. So the title of the alert, whatever it may be, and then you have the alert message, which has a limit of I think 250 characters. And then you can select the urgency level and then send it, which we haven't done that yet. But yes. And then I created an alert component, which looks very similar to the team list component. But I changed what we wanted so that it'll be the title and then who it's from, the urgency level, and eventually I'll have that change color depending on what the urgency is, the time that it was sent out, and then the message would be there, and it would just be like the first maybe 30 characters, and then you'd have to click on the alert to see the extended or the full message. And let's see, I updated this a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so that's mostly what I did, and then, or in terms of what you can see in the app. And then let's jump to the GitHub updates so that you can see what I did on the back end. So in terms of GitHub check-ins, so we have a lot of stuff from before the sprint or before spring break, and then mostly after. I didn't do anything during spring break because I was away. But basically, at the beginning of the sprint, it was my job to clean up the dev branch. So that means making sure that all of the files were the correct names, clean up each folder, put some comments in, and just basically make sure that we know what our code is doing. So basically document everything. And loading branch information. This is taking too long. Okay. Let's see. Command updates. Oh yeah, so I basically went through and took all the commands that we ever had. So we have a folder. Goodness, my internet is very slow. We have a folder full of all the commands that we ever need to run. So for the server, and also just for the mobile folder. And I went through and I cleaned up and I made sure to rerun all of these so that they were saved for all of our GitHub, all of our branches and repositories. So as you can see, it's just a bunch of updating. And then, so this was my time to implement keyboard avoiding view. So it took a couple tries, but nice. But basically updating some of the names of them, scroll view. So I did this to like a bunch of folders. And then this is when I created the Teamlet component. So this, I created a whole new folder for this and then tried to implement it into that file. And then join team dialog box. Oh, right. I didn't show this in the, I forgot to show this. Basically, so there's a dialog box. So in the team list view, there's a little like plus sign in the top right corner. Then you click that, and then you can press join team, and from that a dialog box pops up. And we had kind of created the dialog box, but it wasn't looking quite how we wanted it. So I went through and styled that and made the graphics so that it looked nice. And so I changed like all the coloring and the sizing and like what each of them says, and basically made it how we wanted it to look like. I didn't show that. Maybe I'll put a screenshot. And then I was editing the team list cards so that they would be dynamic and fit whatever content we got from the state. And I was also editing the state so that pages would be ready to like connect with the state. So that was also one of my jobs in the sprint, was to figure out state management in the sense that like get some of the pages ready so that it could connect directly to the state. And then I was updating the define search area page to try to also get it ready for this state because it was a little bit messy. And yeah, those were my main code updates. And then sprint features. So let me make sure this is updated. Load. Goodness, probably because I have all these tabs open. But, so for Sprint 6, I'll be doing styling yet again. Surprise, surprise. Last sprint, my job was to work on state management with Cecilia as well as styling with Cecilia. And we got most of that complete, as you can see. We combined we thought it would take 12 hours. We did about 9 because not all of it's necessarily complete. And then we did state management and both of us worked on it together. I don't think both of us have logged all of our hours quite yet. But basically we're about 80% complete and then 35, mainly because state is just going to be a continuous thing that we develop as we make all of the database entities and all that. But so that was my job. And then in Sprint 6, I'll be doing styling again. And basically the way it's going to work is that as we go along and continue to connect pages to the database, it's going to be my job to take what each team member does and then make it look nice. So, they'll connect a page to the database, be able to display all the team members, and then I will go in and then format all of the information that's being pulled from the database. And yeah, that's everything.